The Naira sustained its slide against the United States dollar yesterday as it weakened to an all-time low on the parallel market, where it sold out 1,100 Naira to the dollar, far weaker than the 1,060 Naira to a dollar it traded the previous day. But the nation's currency traded lower at 1,130 Naira to a dollar for those that demanded wired transfer. Similarly, on the official investors and exporters I&E window, the nation's currency fell to 883 Naira 56 kobo to a dollar yesterday, according to Central Bank of Nigeria's data, as against the 775 Naira 44 kobo to a dollar it sold the previous day. The Naira depreciation was attributed to persistent dollar shortages in the financial system and being driven by new demands as import bills rose on 43 unbanned items recently by the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN. Also, data from the FMDQ show that on the official I&E window, the total daily volume turnover yesterday was $69.88, 88 million, which was a sharp decline by 48.04% compared to the $134.28 million recorded the previous day. Well, Kay, good to see you this morning. We miss Dr. Abati. Well, it's great to have you on the show today.
Absolutely.
All right, let's talk about the dollar, well, the Naira in particular, against the dollar. We saw perhaps the worst decline in recent times, as announced, as I just mentioned. Your take on the story?
Yeah, before we went on air, you recall, Rufai was saying, yes, I told Rotus. And I was here when this conversation started, when the government said that they're going to create this situation that we have. It wasn't their intention to make it this bad. They had a great plan. I'm not sure what the plan was, but all the economists that we've had on this show and those that I talked to personally, the impression is that if you want to float the Naira, you must make sure you have something to back it up. If you don't have the financial strength to back it up, if you don't have the reserve to back it up and to keep it going, plus the fact that not just backing up with what you have as your arsenal, but also ensuring that you put the infrastructure in place, you put the enablement in place in terms of strengthening your potential to export, to have the kind of situation where all the things that you need in-house in the country, they are available. Well, not necessarily all, but you have something in place that makes it unnecessary for you to seek dollar the way we seek dollar. Our children are abroad, they're studying, and that is normal. That's what every country around the world do. China is sending people to UK, to US, to Canada to go and study, and they're having to back their yen. They're doing whatever is necessary. So every country does this. But if we are going to do it and we're going to float the Naira, we have to make sure that those things that is necessary. Our farm is in trouble. The federal government has declared state of emergency on food security. Education is in trouble. Every sector is in trouble. And then you're floating the Naira, and we don't have the resources to back it up, to strength, to keep it going for as long as possible. No matter how much we take in terms of loans, loans cannot be our option for keeping the Naira strong. This cannot happen. We need to find another solution. So my appeal this morning will be to Mr. President, think outside the box. Find another solution. Find something that works. I'm not saying don't float the Naira. If you want to, please go ahead. But please don't make it such that we are in so much trouble that Naira will become only $1 will be selling for 2,000 or 2,005. When we said it could sell for 1,000, a lot of people said it's never going to happen. Rufai, please, did they not say it won't happen?
All right. Thank you, Mr. K. Rufai.
So, I mean, it is obvious that there's a difference between textbook economics and proper business economics. That's what we are seeing here. I get the ideas of proponents of floating the currency, but it goes back to the argument I've made from day one. It is very difficult. Any type of float. What is a float? You are saying market forces should take over. It is very difficult. Any type of float in a highly dollarized developing economy. Because a developing economy will never have its factors of production at optimal levels. That's why it's developing. Secondly, highly dollarized means that the economy is largely dependent on dollars. It is so bad in Nigeria today that people want to dash people money. They dash them dollars. That's how dollarized our economy has become. So, when you have a cultural antecedent and the economy is massively dollarized, a lot of people do not see their local currency as a store of value. Then floats, and you don't have enough factors of production to be able to carry a float. Then floating the currency is leading the currency of that country to the slaughter slab. And that's what they've done to the Naira in the space of 4 months. The Naira is the worst performing currency in the world, one of the worst performing currencies in the world as we speak today. And it keeps getting worse off. So they've led the Naira to the abattoir, and they have destroyed the Naira, and everybody has brought out their knives in the night of long knives to decapacitate the Naira. So everybody is taking their portion of the Naira. And who are those decapacitating? The speculators are having a free rein. And that's why no matter what the CBN tells you, speculators will be bought. You remember a couple of months ago when the finance minister said, speculators will be heavily burnt. The Naira's fair value is 700 Naira. Who is getting burnt today? The government. So what should we do? One, you have to look for money to defend. You see, I kept on making the point of defending the Naira when it was still easy to defend. Around the 700 margin. People said, no, float it. It will find its price discovery. Is it still discovering the price now? Because you see, when you start to defend at over 1,100 Naira, it's way harder than when you started to defend at 700 Naira. You see, the argument some ignorant people will make is the fact that, yes, government will now have more money. There's more government revenue and all of that. Yes. For a worthless Naira in an economy that is highly dollar dependent, at a rate of surging inflation of over 26%. So what are the options? Probably if 1.5 billion comes in from IMF, But the most important option is for you to be able to get foreign investment and to be able to develop production with the local economy and be able to revitalize your oil and gas sector. Because see, there was a time that in the I&E window, they were easily being met dollar demands of $300 million daily, and Nigeria would not shake. The market would not shake. People were mopping in this same market that we are struggling to do $100 million. What did we do yesterday? $54 million. In the I&E window, in fact, there was a story that talked about the fact that in the I&E window, the market opened at over 700. At some point, the highest peak was over 900 before it came down again to about 700 or something, close to 800 mark. So now the highest peak before used to be 600. Now the highest peak is going over 900. Let us see the I&E window. So we need to go back within. But the first palliative is to look for money. How we are going to get it, I don't know. Probably we should beg Saudi Arabia. Saudi has well over $400 billion in its reserve. If Saudi can give us concessionary loans of at least $5 billion, we can use it and throw it into this market. But like you said, Kay, it will still mop it up because this market, at least we've seen now from the character of this market at least in the I&E window will demand transactions of over 150, 200 million sometimes if the market is big enough. So how constantly are we going to be able to do that? We need to go back to an economy of production.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's just it.
Absolutely. As you've mentioned, I mean, if you're going to float the Naira, then you must be able to meet the demand for it. And unfortunately, what we have is a demand issue whereby, a supply issue actually, because there's a huge demand for it, but the supply is not meeting the demand. And we've talked about this a number of times, and unfortunately, it doesn't look very prospective, especially because when we look at foreign investment and dollar, pumping dollar into the economy, there's no short-term prospect, except, of course, for the World Bank loan, which we're expecting, which is going to go towards part of it will go to the conditional cash transfer, some of it will go towards supporting businesses. So at this point, like you mentioned, Mr. K, the government ought to be creative, but it's how to attract investment, make this economy an attractive economy for investors to want to pump in money into the economy. If not, I don't know what we're going to be speaking about in the next few weeks. The CBN governor, the Minister of Finance have their work cut out for them, because the attendant effect of the Naira, to the dollar is the cost of production. Unfortunately, we're highly dependent on foreign goods. We're highly dependent, even in our day-to-day living, on foreign goods. And so there's a huge demand on the dollar, and that doesn't seem to be changing anytime soon. So what we must do is how to pump in money into the economy, especially dollars, a supply issue. Again, there's also talked about the fact that we should incentivize diasporan remittances, because that's also another opportunity. It may not make a significant impact, but that is another area that we must look into, because what we're seeing more and more is people the demand for dollar, but the supply is, in terms of people bringing in the dollar, not as much. So even in remittances, people are trying to save in dollars, we're spending in dollars, so it puts a lot more pressure on that. The 43 banned items as well. The Manufacturers Association of Nigeria are also complaining about that, because they're saying that it has an impact on locally made goods. How will that impact, even though it's supposed to reduce the pressure on, on the dollar, on the parallel market? However, they're also saying that it's affecting production in the nation. Manufacturers are complaining. So it's how the government is, or how the minister or the government is going to find the middle ground to ensure that we have winners. It's a win-win situation for the manufacturers, for to strengthen the Naira, and of course for the economy as well. Not an easy task, but in the next few days we're looking forward to some sort of solution, compromise and harmonization. Move on to our next story. The presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, has again pleaded with the Supreme Court to throw away technicalities and grant his application for leave to tender fresh evidence to support his claim that President Bola Tinubu submitted forged documents to electoral body INEC. Atiku stated this in his reply on point of law to Tinubu's objection to the grant of leave to Atiku to present the fresh evidence before the Apex Court. Atiku made his plea on the grounds that presenting forged documents by any candidate, especially by a candidate for the highest office in the land, is a very grave constitutional issue that must not be encouraged. Tinubu had made his objection on grounds of jurisdiction, and that the issue of qualification is a pre-election matter amongst others, and subsequently prayed the court to deny the grant of the application. All right, technicalities or merits of the case? Okay.
Well, we always end up where we are today, and that's the area where we say some people don't like to hear eyes on the judiciary. It's all down to what is the judiciary going to do, and the reason I would always refer to that statement is because we want Nigeria to work. We pray that Nigeria will work. I personally, at least I know of myself, I can't vouch for anybody else. I pray for Nigeria. I pray for our president. I pray for our leaders. And I'm praying for them even right now that they will do the right thing, especially those in the judiciary. Whatever you think is the right thing, please do. In terms of technicality, in terms of legal, in terms of moral, whether you want to look at it from moral perspective or legal perspective, all of that are just things that people use as words. They don't mean a thing to a lot of people. What we'd like to see, what is the right thing to do? If there is a case to answer, then let the person who has been called to question answer the case. And let the law, due process of law, let it take its place. Let the right thing be done. Not on technical ground, throw away a submission by any of those who are the appellants. Let them present their case, let it be heard, let the decision be made based on the merit of it. Is this right? If it is, then the law will back it up. If it is wrong, then the law will also back that position up, that it is wrong. I don't want to go into too much details because I know the case is before the court, so I'm not able to make a personal opinion expressed because I don't want to fall foul of the law. Rufai.
Fine.
I mean, pure and simple, like you said, I mean, the case is already in court,
Yeah.
but The Tinubu legal team did put up a strong rebuttal. Part of the depositions definitely they will file in response to Atiku's filing. And Atiku has got a right of reply, and he said, it should not be based on technicality and all of that. And I think it's the court that will decide all of this. Yes, we can talk and say, okay, there's been hitherto an antecedent. You remember the case of Bayelsa Degi, Remio, and all of that. Clearly what the law says about it. But it is the court that will be able to make all of these decisions and declaration. But I always insist on the moral outlook of society. And for all of those that say public opinion do not matter, I think they should have a rethink. Because the sum total and the basis of what makes up society is constant societal interaction, which is couched around public opinion. If there is no public opinion, then you have a society that goes to waste. Then what it means is that people can probably muscle the media and go scot-free with it. If there's no public opinion, we will not be able to collectively say that military government was bad for Nigeria. Because it was really bad. If there's no public opinion, we will become revisionists of history. And we must have a certain level of decorum in society. If there's no need for public opinion, we shouldn't be here sitting every morning. Because we amplify voices of millions of people. And that's why even after the judgment, the conversations about public opinion on this matter will constantly reverberate. And by extension today, it is also a blight on our political system. We had 3 candidates in the last election where all the 3 candidates have one comma or the other as regards certificates matters. Those alleged, those real, those unreal, those university contacted or not. So it is it's a blight on our public system as a country. And for whatever it's worth, it's a time for us to have true introspections and have thinking and rethinking about what nation do we truly want. Because you see, the politicians today forget that they are but a passing phase. Today, the politicians of yesterday are nowhere to be found. Shehu Shagari is long gone. Other politicians in that era are long gone. But the truth is, Nigeria has remained. So what Nigeria do we want to bequeath to the next generation? And that's why public opinion counts. We leave the law to do what the law has to do. But also nobody, and I repeat, nobody should deny the right of public opinion on sensitive matters of national importance that borders on morality.
Absolutely, totally agree with you, Rufai, in terms of public opinion. But matter is very simple or straightforward. Perhaps maybe not really simple, but straightforward. And as has been established, it's before the court, and so it would be remiss of us to, to deliberate on the details of the case. However, simply put, the call is for the courts to be able to admit the evidence from the presidential candidate in the 2023 election, Atiku Abubakar's camp, against the opposition of the sitting president and the ruling party, the APC, and of course President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, with regards to the area around jurisdiction, technicalities as to whether or not it should be admissible in the first place. What Atiku Abubakar is asking for is for the Supreme Court to admit it in the interest of the integrity of the nation, in the interest of the nation Nigeria, to admit the evidence, because it is a gross infraction in terms of the Constitution if you come into office with a forged document. Because of the weight of the matter under consideration, the Supreme Court should not kick it out on grounds of technicalities, but should actually look into it, and in the event that it is found to be true, act on that matter. That's what Atiku is praying the court to do. And of course, it will be solely up to the Supreme Court to decide or determine on this particular matter. What we can do is to present the facts to you. It's in court. Before it was in court, we had deliberated quite extensively on the deposition, on Chicago State University, on the forgery or not, or certificate, on the legality, on whether it should be admissible or not. And now, as you mentioned, Kay, all lies on the judiciary. At the end of the day, they're the ones who will rule on this particular matter. However, we'll definitely continue to bring you updates on this story, updates in terms of what happens in court, and updates on eventually what will, how the court will. Don't forget, during his press conference, Atiku Abubakar had mentioned that this would be his last attempt if once the Supreme Court rules, he's willing to accept the decision of the courts and move on, depending on how the courts rule. We'll move on to our next story. Amid rising concerns, Apapa community stakeholders are urgently urging the federal government and the Federal Road Maintenance Agency to address the hazardous conditions of the Ijora-Sifax roads, which have unfortunately become a hotspot for accidents leading to the loss of lives and property. Acknowledging the challenges faced, Adekoya Hassan, head of operations for the Lagos State Special Traffic Management Committee and special advisor to the governor on transport, Honorable Shola Giwa, chairman of the committee, emphasized the need for significant government intervention beyond the temporary measures of frequent gravel application. He earnestly appealed to the authorities, urging the federal government and the Federal Road Maintenance Agency to prioritize the comprehensive repair and maintenance of the roads, citing the urgent need for substantial intervention to avert further catastrophe.
We have been calling on the federal government through the Ministry of Works. As you can see, the pothole, bad spots has been here for a while, and this has led to the lamentation of the community member stakeholders that has led to loss of lives and property. Myself and our committee chairman had to swing into action, the SA to Governor on Transport, to ensure we provide a material to make sure just for safety of life and property, so that the incident that happened a few days ago, last Thursday, will not repeat itself, just like what we are about to experience yesterday. A couple of months ago, there was an incident of imported glass that worth up to millions of naira that got lost on this road due to the bad road. And in the process of the intervention during the glass incident that happened, we also experienced a loaded truck of Guinness, which also fell on the road. That got lost of millions of property worth of millions of naira got lost at this same point. We were about to experience the same incident of the burned tanker that happened last week. Yesterday, but we were able to manage it by bringing in safety measure and transloading it from getting into a fire incident. We did 6 trucks. At the start, we started with 1, then additional 5. We keep doing it because export landing truck kept falling on this road every day. The same thing as import goods fall on this road that led to loss of properties, loss of millions of naira, and also loss of life. But we are repeating now, we are still calling on them, so they can come to our aid to put the road in proper shape that can actually withstand the high-duty trucks that apply this road. This is actually the road that leads to Nigerian Port Authority, the gateway to our national economy. We are calling on him and we are begging him. All of this we are doing within our capacity. We have been reaching out to them all over again and again and again. We are yet to hear from them. If they have reached out to us, the evidence will be fixing of the road. We just want them to come over to put the road to an order, because the trucks that apply this road, they are heavy-duty trucks. So they need to put the road in order, in a standard that can actually occupy the capacities of these trucks. As you can see what we did today, we did 30-ton truck, 3, with our personal money.
Yesterday, our motor come up for that side. He say our board come break. We come to the whole lot for this side, that side there. We know people pass this road. We not go past this road. Now my 2 top pass because of this road no good. If we carry load, we not go follow here. If you control the loads, company, they say the driver now go pay. We are begging government to come and do it this road, but driver will suffer away. Maybe this road is no good. We are begging government, may come do, may help us, may come do us.
Affect us very well, because every time we repair our bus, within 2 weeks it got broken again. So we want them to try more than this, so that everybody will be okay very well. You can see what happened last 2 weeks or last week. It's because of the bad road that caused it. If the government can try and fix up the road very well, there will be no accidents on the road. So we plead to them, they should help us, we masses on living at Ijora, so they should try.
Federal government should try, please, help us do this road very well. This is the federal road, not Lagos State road.
So in a measure of preventing all of this, we are still calling on the Ministry of Works, Honorable Minister Umai, please, because of God, then Allah Mona Rokunka, Biko Makachuku, come here and save our Papa road that leads to your port, to our national port gate.
Well, in many languages, the people there are appealing to the federal government to come to their aid. We heard people speaking Yoruba, in Hausa, in Igbo, just come. So whatever language it is that they're able to understand, just come to the aid of the people at Ijora-Sifax. Kay?
I cry for my nation. This morning, I just feel like I don't know what our solution will be. I don't know how we want to address these issues from one thing to the other, to the other, to the other. It's looking like it's all criticism. And sometimes when you criticize left, right, and center, it will sound like there is nothing good in Nigeria. And Nigeria is a great nation, by the way. Nigeria is an awesome nation. A few days ago, we brought an eminent scholar, Professor Hippolyte Amadi. Yeah. Yes, we brought him here from Imperial College. Incredible work that he is doing there. So there's a lot happening in Nigeria that is great. So we know that this nation has the potential. This nation can do awesome things, and we have to do the right thing. On the 21st of August was when the Minister for Work was sworn in, Dave Umahi. I'm not sure I've seen any video of him visiting Lagos and saying, this is the Lagos where the president came from. This is the Lagos on which the president based his foundation for being able to emerge as the president of Nigeria. And this is the same Lagos that the president and his government has denied all the things that is required to make it a showpiece for Africa. The third largest economy, how do they describe it? The largest economy. Yes. So we have a major issue here. The president has to give direct instruction to Dave Umahi, visit Lagos today and come and put this right. Don't leave us in this situation. It is wrong. There are things that the governor of Lagos has to do, and he has to do those things. But when it comes to a place like Apapa that is federal government-owned territory, they have to do the right thing and do it for Lagos. Mr. President, this is your territory. Make it happen, and make it happen immediately.
All right.
So a lot has been done as regards the Apapa Road, but they've not done enough. It's clear. I mean, I thought at a point they did a concessioning, with a certain group, and, they had used tax rebates and all of that. But they've not done a lot. You can couch your problems in many ways. Poor urban planning, and this is the same Lagos we claim is a mega city. Poor urban planning that also surrounds the reason why you even have tank farms and port and everything that just grew around the Apapa area. Secondly, the fact that they've not built infrastructure or renewed infrastructure over the years. So we know the problems. How can we fix it? This was the same Apapa back in the days that used to be a GRA, that used to be a very priced area for people to live in. Fix the area, sort out the port issue, and, if you have to relocate some tank farms away from there, you have to. So once you plan effectively, then you get results. If you don't fail to plan, then you don't get, if you fail to plan, then you don't get results. So our problems are not rocket science. You're not inventing the wheel or anything. Just go out there and fix the problem. But the problem is, this problem has been there for many years, and businesses are suffering. That's how we are as a mega city,
Right. It's said that small businesses, medium SMEs are said to lose about 3 million to 14.9 million naira monthly to bad roads in terms of the hardship of the lack of infrastructure, especially when it comes to bad roads, as we've seen in the Apapa axis especially. We need to, first of all, because Lagos is the commercial capital of Nigeria, put in monetary terms how much money businesses lose on a daily basis as a result of bad roads. Number two, we need to evaluate or analyze how much impact on productivity on Nigerians bad roads have on Nigerians? Because we just see it as, perhaps it's seen as, another infrastructural development to be done, but we don't actually look at the opportunity cost of bad roads perhaps we don't evaluate it on the impact it has on our nation. It affects productivity immensely. A few days back, we were looking at a video of a woman who was frustrated, and what was very heartbreaking, who was talking about the traffic, in one part of Lagos State. And what she was looking at was the school buses on their way to school at 11 a.m. So students from a young age are already adversely impacted because you're going to work or you're going to school stressed. You have endured, traffic, bad roads, bumps on the road, and so you're not even you're not in the space to think properly, to innovate, or to be productive. So productivity is another issue. So the quality of life for the people, for businesses, output, is what is being affected and impacted. We cannot claim to be a mega city and we have the center that's responsible for that particular road, which is a federal road. I must mention and emphasize, that it's a federal road, and the president is from, let me take that advantage, he's from the city of Lagos as well. And so he knows firsthand some of the hot spots, and therefore, we shouldn't have to keep on talking, because this road has been in the news for a number of times, for the last few months. We shouldn't have to keep talking about it before something is done. Also, I will add that until we begin to sue government officials or governments for accidents caused by negligence, and they pay heavily in terms of whether it's a class action suit, compensation, until we begin to do that, and there are penalties for the lack of infrastructural development, we will not see a permanent solution to these things. It is the fact that we have the roads, sometimes contracts are awarded, there's no accountability, it is done halfway or in a shoddy manner, so that in a few months' time we're back to the same problem. We will continue to have challenges like this. The people of Ijora-Sifax are complaining, but let me say that they are not the only ones complaining. If the federal government is coming to Lagos, they must also pay attention to Third Mainland Bridge. There are many roads, many federal roads that need urgent attention because of the hardship on the people, the loss of income, and of course, the deaths that occur on those roads as a result of how bad the roads are and negligence in this regard by the federal government.